Hi. Welcome to Time with Pearl podcast. This is a quiet space for everyday people navigating mindset, faith, and real life. In just a few minutes, we slow down, let go of the noise, and sit with the thoughts we usually don't have time to face. No pressure to perform, no need to have it all figured out. Just honest reflections for people who are trying to grow, believe, and keep moving, one day at a time. I'm glad you're here. Let's begin. You don't need permission to grow. Let's slow down for a moment. Not because something is wrong, but because growth usually begins when we stop rushing ourselves. If you're listening to this, there's a chance you've been holding back, not because you don't want more for your life, but because somewhere along the way, you started waiting for approval, waiting for agreement, waiting for someone to say, yes, now you can grow. So today, I want to sit with just one thought, not many ideas, not a list, just one. You don't need permission to grow. And I don't mean that in a loud, rebellious way. I mean it gently, honestly, because most of the time, the permission we're waiting for isn't coming. Not because people are cruel, but because everyone else is busy living their own lives. Growth is often quiet, and quiet things don't usually get announced or approved. You might be waiting for your family to understand, your friends to agree, your past to make sense, your fear to disappear. But growth doesn't wait for those conditions. It begins the moment you decide to stop shrinking yourself to stay familiar. And that's hard, because staying the same keeps the peace. Growing changes the balance. When you grow, people have to adjust how they see you, and not everyone wants to do that. Some people preferred you when you doubted yourself, when you explained less, when you asked more. And that doesn't make them bad people. It just means your growth is real. You see, growth doesn't always look like becoming louder or bolder. Sometimes it looks like becoming quieter, but firmer. Like choosing differently without explaining yourself. Like needing less validation. Like trusting your inner no for the first time. That can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've been the one who always checked in, always waited, always asked. But here's something worth sitting with. Outgrowing a version of yourself doesn't mean you're rejecting who you were. It means you're honoring who you're becoming. And you don't need permission for that. Not from people who benefited from your hesitation, not from voices that only speak when you change, not even from the old version of you that learned to survive by staying small. Growth isn't disrespect, it's honesty. It's saying, this no longer fits, without turning it into an argument. A lot of people think they need a reason to grow, a big reason, a dramatic reason. But sometimes the reason is simply this: you feel different now. And that's enough. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to want more peace. You're allowed to take a different direction. You don't owe the world consistency at the expense of your well-being. And if faith is part of your life, hear this gently. God does not require stagnation to prove loyalty. Growth does not threaten faith. Avoiding growth does. Sometimes obedience looks like moving forward, even when no one claps. Sometimes faith looks like trusting the quiet nudge inside you, not the loud opinions outside you. You may not have language for where you're going yet. You may not have certainty. But growth doesn't ask for certainty. It asks for courage. Small courage. The kind that looks like choosing differently today, letting go without closure, resting instead of explaining, taking a step without announcing it. You don't need to convince anyone to grow. You just need to listen to yourself. And that's the part many people avoid. Because listening to yourself means responsibility. It means you can't keep blaming circumstances forever. But it also means freedom. Freedom from waiting, freedom from permission, freedom from living your life on pause. I want you to notice something right now. Where in your life have you already outgrown something, but you're still standing there out of habit? Sit with that. No fixing, no rushing to act. Just notice, because awareness always comes before change. And if today all you do is acknowledge you've grown, that's already movement. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to explain it. Let growth be quiet if it needs to be. Let it be yours. I'll leave you with this thought, and then I'll give you space. You don't need permission to grow. The moment you realize you've changed, you've already begun. Sit with that, and when you're ready, take the next honest step. Before you go, take a moment and notice what stayed with you. Not what you understood, but what felt true. You don't have to act on it immediately. You don't have to explain it to anyone. Just let it sit with you. Growth doesn't need an announcement. It doesn't need approval. Sometimes it only needs honesty. Wherever you are right now, trust that you're allowed to move forward at your own pace, quietly, gently, and in your own way. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'll be here tomorrow. Until then, keep growing.